how to add an extruded pattern onto a circular shape. Hello everyone, this video is a request I received for someone to show how to add an extruded pattern onto a fidget ring. So if I understand correctly, the idea here is we have a circular ring and then we just want to add an extruded pattern. Basically it could be designed many different ways. So I'm not going to focus on any particular design, just a proof of concept, and I'm sure you can make something nicer out of it. So to get started, I'll show how you can make a ring, and I'm actually going to show how you can make the ring rounded a little bit. So if you go to a basic drawing, and if I start drawing a basic line, let's say if I'll draw a line like this, press escape, just finish the simple line, and I'll go to an arc, and I'll start drawing an arc from here to here, and I'll give it some bulge factor, let's say 10. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just setting the outside of the ring, and now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to uncheck this shape and we're going to draw a new line. I'm drawing it here because here is I used precision setting snap to grid vertices to draw straight, but I'm going to move this line a little bit. So this line is moved away by 50 now because the size of this box is 50 based on my settings, the default settings. So I'm going to move it to closer to it. Instead of minus 50, I'm going to move it, let's say minus 10. So this becomes closer here. Okay, so let me show you why I did this, what this drawing is. So I'm going to take this shape. This is the basic shape that I'm going to take, and I'm going to go to the revolve tool. Now revolve tool tries automatically to detect, SelfCAD's revolve tool, the shape where you want to do it. And in this case, it detected the rounded part from inside. You can make it bigger, kind of like this, but you can also flip it the other side around, and now the round part outside, but you see the color, it's flipped. I can flip normals, and I get basically this shape without doing anything. And this is kind of just unique to SelfCAD, the way these gizmos work, so you can basically play with this. But if you want to do it in a more precise way, having precision and the way it's done in most other software, you will use the revolve around edge. And in this case, I prepared this edge. So if I take this edge, look what you get. You get a closed shape, and this is kind of what you get. That's not what you want to have. I want to have it open. So I'm going to go again around edge. I'm going to choose this edge that I added, and now I get this shape that I wanted. So this is the center, as you can see, the center of the shape, and revolves around that. So if this is the center and this 10 away, that means the shape, the inside, will be the size of 20, basically, a radius of 10. So that's basically how I got this shape over here. Now it jumps up because this is on the floor, and we don't allow things to go below the grid, so it jumps up. But nonetheless, I can just get rid of the profiles now. So we have the basic ring created. Obviously it's not nice. Yeah, you'll have something nicer. This is the bulge factor is too small, it's too big, and this is too big this side, but yeah, I can use it as a way to prove the concept how to add. Okay, so how to add an extruded pattern on top of this. So what I'm going to do over here is there's many ways you can get an extruded pattern. You can use simple import an SVG and extrude it. You can use image 3D to create any shape and extrude it, and all of them will work the same way I'm going to show now. But I'm actually going to use the drawing, freehand drawing. In freehand drawing, there's a feature that very few know about, and that is the pattern drawing. So I can choose a rectangle, simple rectangle, and I'm going to choose pattern. So the way this works is we have here a few sample patterns. Text, that's just some random text, I think, and a star and pattern, something we call pattern. These are just samples. The way you actually use them is normal is to import an SVG. You select an SVG, you have scaling options, and you basically use the SVG to kind of draw the pattern. So I'm just going to use the sample pattern, and I'm simply going to draw a rectangle and do something like this. This is the sample pattern that you see over here. Now this will be extruded now, and the default height will be 20. I can later scale it down, or you can just go over here to the height settings, and I will scale it down to, instead of 20, let's make it 10. Okay, so now if I'm going to finalize this, we get this pattern extruded. So this is a very complex pattern. We see it has all holes, to all separate pieces. So it's not ideal for something good to make. It's just this example I used. That you'll be much better off using an imported SVG or image 3D to get something nice, or a custom SVG pattern in the freehand drawing as well. But I just use this. Okay, so how do I get this flat extruded pattern onto this rounded shape? So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to go to bend tool. And I think this is the fastest way to do something like this. So the bend tool, I need to bend this. Now here's a few interesting things. So first of all, which direction I want to bend it. I want to bend it upside down. I don't have these gizmos here even. So I'm going to switch another gizmo. I'm going to switch to back and front. And now you see I have this gizmo, but I actually don't know which way it's going to go. So if I click on it, you can see this moves it sideways, kind of like this. And I may need this to move it to get this rounded part, but not to the circular part around. So I'm going to undo this. But before I show you, I want to show you how this is going to work. I'm going to go to the left, right plane, and I'm going to type in here 360 degree. 360 degree, and look what you get. You get this skewed. Now, why is this happening? It happens because it rotates around a pivot point, which is the center. But as you bend them, the way this tool works, you actually need to adjust the pivot point. And if you don't adjust them, that's the results. So SelfCAD has an option dynamic origin. So if I type in now 360 degree, and the same thing as before, after turning on dynamic origin, we get a perfect circle. Okay, so I have here just one problem. If you do it this way, you're gonna have to use magic fix, because you're basically closing it exactly, but it's not really closed. The geometry is not stitched together. So in order this to be a manifold mesh, you will actually have to use magic fix so it's stitched together. But this shape is a very complex shape, so many loose pieces. Magic fix will probably lose the niceness of the object, will kind of reduce it a little bit. So I'm just going to use it a little less than 360 degree, like 359 or something like that. But I'm also want to give it this rounded part over here. So I'm first gonna go to the back front, which I already tested. This gives me this roundness, and I'm gonna give it a 50. I don't actually know the exact roundness, but the way my thinking is that the thickness over here I get is 10, and this means it revolved around I get the Boyle's factor was around this line here, was 10, and now I go around the center, and the size of this is 50. So I'm probably gonna have to do it about 50. My math here is not exact. It's just kind of an approximate, just kind of trying to figure out what I have to do. Obviously you have to measure it, see the exact sizes. But now we're gonna go to this other thing, while dynamic origin, and move the other line, and now we're gonna make it 358, let's say. Make sure it leaves me a little bit of gap. I could have actually used 359 without a problem. So let's see, 359, 359. And okay, I still have a little bit of gap, just not 360. Okay, so now I have these two shapes. I'm going to go to the align tool, and I'm going to go to, once I select two objects, it gives me this option automatically, merge object centers. So I click on merge object centers. So now I have these two objects go one on top of the other. Okay, so you can see my bending was not perfect. It goes in a little bit inside here, so I have to rescale it, or scaling something here in measurement was not perfect. I'm just going to color this object so I can better see what's happening and also make it look a little nicer. You can see it's almost right, but I have to scale it a little bit. So let's make this object a little bit bigger. I'm going to use just key proportion, but obviously you can just move two axes that you need if you don't want to move out the outside. And I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger, so until I no longer see the object going outside. Actually hard to see because it's not on the floor. So let's actually undo this so I can see better, because the grid moves it up. Okay, what's happening here is that because they're both on the floor, if I start scaling, it moves it up, so it moves it away from location. I'll have to center it again. So I'm moving both up, so I shouldn't have a problem with that. And now I'm going to scale this again, and to see if I can get an approximate size. It's not exactly, yeah, so basically just the idea. Okay, so keep proportion, and let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay, till I see they're no longer, okay. So now I think I no longer have anything pursing inside in it. So what we're going to do now is take these two and simply go stitch and scoop. So I'm going to go basically remove this blue part, and here you go. You have this embedded. If you want to keep holes, you can actually go this one, intersection, and get just the intersection. You have something with holes. You can obviously union them, but in this case, what I want to have is this removed, and this is perfectly fine. Now, this is not an exact. You see here we have the seam because it wasn't good. So if you have a better shape that you're not afraid to use magic fix, this is a very complex shape. Magic fix is not a good idea for it. I would make it 360 exactly and then use magic fix to close the seam, stitch it up. But that's basically the idea. This is how you do it, and I hope you can make something out of it nice, a nice ring, and I would appreciate if you send me an example. What you design, you can show in the comments what you're able to do with this concept. So the concept is here, but as always, the designs are up to you, and hopefully you can make something nice out of it. Okay, thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments your feedback. Have a great day, bye.